Hey there, if you're somebody who has struggled giving product manager interviews and cracking them, or if you're somebody who has recently thought of getting into the field of product management and are ready to give interviews, then this is the right place for you. Today I'm going to share with you certain steps and tricks which will help you prepare for the right type of interviews in product management and help you crack it. Typically, people say that product management looks something like this. A product manager is somebody who's responsible for engineering, business, and design. Within engineering as well, you have software, hardware, AI, ML, and so on. In design, you have to take care of research, interaction, writing the content. And in business, it's all about understanding marketing, finance, and the legal aspects. As a product manager, you are somebody who's in between all of these spectrums. While it sounds extremely challenging and difficult to know it all, here are the next things that you should be doing if you want to really crack that right job. Step number 1. You should go ahead and fix a study time to prepare yourself for this particular role. A study time is definitely something that will help you dedicate and shift your focus into learning and studying it at a particular time in the day. So even if you're busy after work, or if you're a student who's pursuing an MBA, you know that you have to spend that 1.5 or 2 hours just on studies for your product management interview. Typically, it takes around 6 to 8 months if you are a novice, means if you're not into the field of product management. It will take you easily 6 to 8 months to prepare yourself into this particular career, because it is all about the mindset and knowing how to utilize your skills and how to communicate that in the right way while you're giving the interviews. The second thing that you need to prepare is, once you're done with the base topics, you need to go ahead and do a lot of case studies. And these case studies should be relevant to the positions you're looking for. For example, if you're applying in Google, they ask a lot of technical questions. So you should be picking up case studies into product which are extremely technical. And if you have a chance to get it reviewed by somebody, nothing like it. Definitely show it to somebody who's already into the product field, get it reviewed by them and ask them, how can I make it better? Tip number 2, go ahead and practice it in front of a mirror. Now, we all know that interviews are something that can just come one day. You're just sitting on a Friday evening, chilling with your friends, and then you get an email from an HR saying that, okay, congratulations, you've sort of been shortlisted and you're going to the next round. So why wait for that, right? Why not go ahead and start doing this from the moment you've decided to get into this particular field? And while you're thinking of getting into it, it's always good to practice it on a weekly basis. Download an app which records your voice, answer the questions as you would if you were in an interview, and play it back. The moment you do this, there is a feedback system that you are inculcating in your study mechanism. And you are the best judge of how well you've answered something, how did you do in the last week versus how you're doing in this week, and you will be able to slowly go ahead and see what your progress looks like. So go ahead and download that app, which is going to be handy for you. Record any responses that you want and listen to it on loop. Make notes of where you think you faltered and where you think you can answer it. The third tip is to structure your response. As a product manager, you're not only going to be judged on your core skill sets of a product, but also on how are you communicating it, analyzing it, and displaying it. So your job essentially evolves around putting all the pieces of the puzzle together and showcasing it in a very organized way when you're communicating with different stakeholders. So while you're doing this, you need to also structure your responses as an interviewee. So if I'm asking somebody, what's your favorite app, and they say Amazon, I would be like, okay, great. What do you like about Amazon? An average answer would be something like, I love Amazon because it has all the products that I want and I can order it at any point I like, and it gives me updates about when my order is going to come in. Now, this is a very novice answer, or it's a very average answer when you're answering a product question. A good answer or an ideal answer would be something like, one of my favorite apps is Amazon because it solves the problem of me not going into the market and buying something. It solves the problem of me having all the reviews at my fingertips, and it solves the problem of me knowing exactly what's the TAT or the delivery time of the product that I'm ordering. And then from there you can move on to how is it that you can make the product better. So whenever you are answering a question, have this particular format in mind. First one, what is the problem? Second, how is this feature or app solving the problem? And third, what is the negative aspect about this product? What if you had to make the product again from scratch? What would you do to make it a better product? While you're thinking of it, make sure that you always have your KPIs attached to it. It's not just about, hey, because I think this is going to be an awesome thing, let's go ahead and build it. You need to be sure of all the tangible items you talk about and how are you going to measure it. The fourth tip is to go ahead and use a framework. A lot of times in your MBA, or if you're reading a blog or an article, a lot of people refer to certain frameworks. It could be the circles method, it could be BCG matrix, SWOT analysis, the heart matrix. So make sure that you know at least few of these matrix that product managers use on a daily basis. And when you're answering a certain question, especially if it is an in-person interview, try to use one of these frameworks on maybe a whiteboard, on pen and paper. Show that you know how to use certain matrix and make assumptions while you're doing that. So not everything is going to be hunky-dory when they ask you a question. So when you're analyzing how to respond to a certain thing, especially when it is market evaluation or talking about competitors, it makes sense to use one of these matrix and tell them that these are my assumptions. This is the number that I'm going to go ahead with. This is the approximate target market that I have. And from there I'm going to create these features. So always make sure that you have 2 or 3 good frameworks in your back pocket to go ahead and talk with in an interview. The fifth tip is to think of ideas. When you are a product manager, it is expected that you innately have some creative juices flowing in. You should be able to suggest different ways of working, problem solving, decision making, and not just that, but also creating new things. So now you have to think as a user or a customer, what are the problems you're facing in your life today? It has to be around the digital world, and how can it be resolved? So you need to go ahead and think of 3 or 4 top problems that you're thinking of, and then post that you need to create a solution around it. Once you do that, display that in any interview that you're going to. So it could be just one-off conversation where you're showing them that, hey, this is what I had thought of, this is the problem I think most users are facing, this is some data around it, and this is how I think I can solve it. When you think about it in this way, the interviewer knows that you are curious, you're somebody who is going to take risks and also take a measurable decision around it. So don't be afraid to throw in your ideas or solutions, even if it is not asked for, and then ask for feedback. So as soon as you ask for feedback, you will know where is it that you had flawed the most. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this video and it was as informative as I intended it to be. If you're new here, definitely like, share and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram also. It's Mansi Sanghavi Official.